maybe there wasn't the kind of like discourse that we have now around all of this stuff and the medium itself and the industry. So, expectations and hordes of fans and stuff just weren't around to,
Right.
be responsible to.
I kind of wish they still weren't there. Wait, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. We lost a lot of this
What
recording.
happened?
No, we're good. At one point, it stopped recording. Very early
Well,
on. Oh, well. Live radio, folks. But anyway. Apologies to ZenVex. Oops. I just looked over. I looked over and there it said stop. It said start recording. I was like, shouldn't say start recording. It should say stop recording. And then I checked my folder and it's about 4 minutes long. Oh well.
gotcha.
Gotcha. I got
Let's
indeed.
start from the top. Let's just
Welcome to
redo it, the whole
Indiepocalypse
conversation.
Radio. How you doing? ZenVex, how you doing? It as it happens. Boned by the master, as they say.
I'm here.
Hello, ZenVex. How you doing? So, for the shit. Anyway, the people who were here got to hear all that, but that's the nature of podcasting. We'll talk to you again later from the group session. We'll hit your major talking points again, but sometimes things are lost to the void, never to return. That's how radio was. Who still has how many countless hours of radio was recorded that is now lost to history? And really, do we need any of it? Do we need any art? The answer is no. That's why you can disregard people who are shitty, even if they made good things, because nothing is essential.
That's
Anyway,
deep.
sorry for the sidetrack of this thing. We all make mistakes, as they say. That's why we have the word mistake. Because we need to... Those things exist and we need a word to describe them because they are so frequent. We also call them accidents, mishaps. So many words. Mars, what's the worst accident? What's the worst low-stakes mistake you think you've ever made?
Like low stakes.
Yeah, like something like forgetting to record the first 30 minutes of a podcast.
I don't know. I teach, so it probably had something to do with the class. Like,
Okay.
I probably was covering a topic and totally didn't cover like the most obvious thing that I should have been talking about.
Oh, those kids are gonna look back later and think, I can't believe he didn't teach me this very obvious thing.
They say that anyway. even
So-
even if I bring it up, it's still like forgotten. So
So
it happens.
disillusioned by the school
Totally
system.
yeah.
Listen, school is complicated and tricky, and also daycare. For
Yeah.
for some case, people who are practically adults. But I got real flummoxed by that little gaffe I made. Can't wait to go on my IMDb flubs page. But Andrew forgets to record an episode halfway through, remembers, oh shit. Anyway. So, locally sourced, the Midwest, shows. Let's talk briefly about some of that stuff. And I haven't. Let me put this idea into ether because it's something I kind of want to do. To go all the way back to Mike K. He may have put this little worm in my head. Is that I want to beat Sufjan to his game, and I want to, at some point, make all 50 states. An Indiepocalypse for all 50 states, and do more than just like Illinois and Michigan. What do you think would be the hard? What do you think would be the hardest state?
The hardest state.
The hardest state to get 10 developers for.
I don't know. I really don't. Like I'm familiar with a couple of states and they're kind of like scene, but
Right.
I wouldn't want to speak ill of a state. I imagine,
No,
there are
no, I
people
wouldn't
everywhere
either.
who are, I don't know. Yeah, I could just like, I don't know, West Virginia. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard. I think this all comes back to I think people need to support their local scene. The slogan of Indiepocalypse, an additional pillar of Indiepocalypse. We've got build. Let's all get back to building our own websites. Let's all get back into AMVs. Let's get offline. Let's and then pillar number 4, support your local scene.
mm, I've learned too that like there are a lot of people doing really great things, but you don't know that they're there, and
Yeah,
they don't know that some things like this are going on. So it's nice when everybody kind of discovers one another, because then
right.
they realize like, oh wow, okay, cool. Like there's actually a group of people meeting, or there's bundles, there's initiatives, there's events, there's stuff.
Yeah,
And then you don't realize like, holy cow, like there's this artist who lives out in the middle of nowhere, who's been working remote for this company or that company.
yeah.
They've been there the whole time.
And yeah, all these people have always been there, and I think, for better or worse, COVID has been good at bringing people together in that way because now we are no longer bound by geography.
Yeah, there's kind of like a whole new meta regarding
Yeah,
like the way that we're all connected within the
right.
industry.
Because it's easy to miss, like the, the I'm part of the South Dakota game scene, but it's hard to miss it. But then when everyone's online and we're looking, hey, join our South Dakota game scene Discord, and someone's like, I didn't know that scene even existed, and I live in that state.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing. Like even with the Game Dev Michigan server, I mean, we get people all the time who they're just unaware. That there's
Right.
only so many outlets. If they're not following the right people on
Yeah.
Twitter, they're not even on Twitter.
Yes.
Um, it's
That's
just they can't find that connection.
that's the trickier thing. Let's all get off. Listen, Mars. If we all got off Twitter, where would you want to go? What smaller platform state would you want to go to if we all got off Twitter?
I don't know. I feel like any platform that I would invest time in would eventually get big anyway. Um, I mean, I was big into LiveJournal back in the day. I loved that. That
I was
was like,
just. It's funny you mentioned LiveJournal because I was actually just thinking about LiveJournal because watch as I use my Google skills real quick. I was thinking a lot about LiveJournal because I just recently read Seasonal Shift by Lala Albert, sorry. And at the beginning, they talked with Michael DeForge about LiveJournal and how things were different back then, and like how you can meet people through like LiveJournal and how they all met through that. But now the internet's big and it's better but trickier but different, and the internet's different now, basically.
yeah. It was like, I don't know, for me, like the baby version of from MySpace to Facebook to Twitter to whatever else.
Right. Let's get on Mastodon, everyone. No, my secret is I'm just getting offline and I'm just hosting this radio show, and it completes in Twitter's business only. Speaking of business only, we're gonna go on break. Mars, thanks for being here. Glad to have you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
yeah.
talking
Thanks
to
for
me.
having me. It's been fun.
Thanks. One of these days. When this opens back up and I get to do my great Indiepocalypse book tour, I will be in Michigan. Hopefully, I will be around the world, and you can see a physical copy. These physical copies are very nice. I mean, very nice in that they are like slightly above printer copy paper, printed at a big 8.5. But it's nice to see them all. Nice to hold them. Nice to touch them. Have them in a big 8.5 by 11 in your hands. Anyway, I'm going to break. I'm just going to stop rambling. Goodbye, everyone. See you in 2 minutes 55 seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was Disarc. That's an album I already own, but I'm a big fan of it. I like its name. It's Everything Died. It's got a bunch of great albums. It's got a bunch of I like albums that have good song titles and also good songs, and that's one of them. But anyway, explicit tag for everyone out here. I'm here with Ezra. Hey, Ezra.
Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing my customary look over to the clock to start my timing. So, hey, I think I know the answer to the quiz. How did you hear about Indiepocalypse?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you may know Ezra from issue 2 of Indiepocalypse. So got in very early with Type Jump.
Yeah. It was the Made in Massachusetts PAX pre-party, and I was very nervous because I just basically started making games a couple of months ago, and I was looking for people that I knew, and I knew somebody named Chris Mayer, and I went up to talk to him, and you had either just finished talking to him or you were talking to him,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Hey, this is Andrew. He's cool." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then you told me about Indiepocalypse, and I was like, "Oh, hell yeah."
I am very cool. Thank you for telling me. But
yeah, no problem.
Chris Mayer, friend of the show, support your local scene in Boston area, because I won't do it because I'm a man of the world. It's a very strange thing. This is a long-standing understanding that I have no allegiances to whatever city I happen to be nearby.
I'm really happy that the Boston scene is so big because, I wasn't sure about it when I moved here, and then one of my teachers was like, "Hey, did you know that Boston is one of the biggest indie scenes at all, ever?" And I was like, "What?" And he showed me all the links, and I was like, "Oh, damn!" And I started going to all the events.
Yeah, there's a lot of links. There's a lot of events. There's a lot of online events. I did one recently where I gave a talk, and yeah, Boston is I did not realize is a hub for IF,
yeah,
interactive fiction for the people not in the know what IF is.
Right. I think Andrew Plotkin is the person who made this work, or
no, I don't.
But no.
But listen, I'm going to show my ass and say, but he made very foundational works. I think he might have a Wikipedia page.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm also unfamiliar, so
or at the very least, a prominent page on the if.wiki.net.fandom.com.
Yeah. Oh, I think what I'm mixing up is his username on the Slack is Zorf or something like that, or Zarf.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I was confused.
Yes. Don't worry, I will not tell on you. I don't use Slack.
Oh yeah, it's only just recorded and gonna be put up forever.
Yeah.
Why couldn't this be the part that you didn't record?
No, I'm looking at it. It says stop recording, which means we are definitely recording all of this right now, and I am finding that Boston Game Dev Slack, and I'm telling them all, did you know Ezra was just talking shit?
Yeah. Oh yeah, all the time. Constant shit talk over here.
Listen, I dream of the day where I can just be I look at Orson Welles, those Orson Welles cat when he gets real catty, and I think, I wish, dude.
Why wait? You could be catty now.
I'm still in the situation where I need to be friends to people, and I can't make fun of people for sounding like they're a couple of marketing slang given human body.
Yeah, I worry that I am turning into marketing slang given human body just gradually.
Oh, listen, watch out for it. Let me tell you, there's a warning case that you should just watch their Twitter account and be do not become them, and you'll be fine. There's one game where I'm do people, they must be friends with people, because I don't know why anyone else would ever pay attention to this game. It just seems super generic and boring, and very also ran. Which, listen, that's as close as I will get with my real fucking Godard never made a good movie. Truffaut is a piece of shit. I wish, or I could start a feud like those guys did. I think they hated each other at some point. Anyway.
Yeah.
to get to the pre-show and our shared common knowledge. So, Ezra, what's your favorite Godard film?
Oh God, I know some of the words in that sentence, but I cannot create a coherent answer to
So
that question.
you're saying you're more of a Truffaut man.
No. I'm going to redirect the conversation and say that it is unfortunate that people have to spend time either making a game or marketing it, because it sort of makes it so that games are more visible that are worse.
Right, or games that can only have the budget to spend on marketing.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Or the hours budget in terms of having a bigger team of people.
Yeah.
Shit, if only there were like a collective that like did all of your marketing kind of for you,
Yeah. I mean, if something like that existed, I would definitely go on a podcast for it.
Yeah, you should definitely submit something to it and then be like, shit, I got in early. Why can't he submit my newer stuff? Which is this guy's problem?
No, I totally get it. I mean, it's great that like there's so many people who want to be in it, and yeah, I guess I was a little bit sad because I just had basically started making games, and I feel like I have so much cooler stuff that I can make now as opposed to the typing game that I made that I was really proud of at the time, but like,
right.
Yeah, I've grown a lot since then.
Yeah, no, that's last month was like an explosion of submissions. Something like almost 300 people joined, I think. And
That's great.
And over 100 submissions, including one that I was very surprised about. As like,
can you talk about it? What were you surprised about?
It was someone who I was aware of, and I was at some point going to like, oh, I couldn't contact that person directly. They're too big for me.
And boom, naturally, they do it.
They just show up naturally. Yeah, like was it 125? That's the highest it's reached so far. So I guess like, so as what I would tell you is go out and make your own Indiepocalypse. Go out and make your own bundle.
Yeah, I should, but I don't know. You told me how much work is it? Would you say it's easy or?
Okay, so for my way of doing it, it's like super complicated because I'm
yeah.
Well, because are you also making a companion zine, and you're also, because you're making it like as a single store page, you have to pay everyone individually through PayPal or whatever. Because
I'm actually planning on taking your search engine optimization by calling it Indiepocalypse, and it's going to be exactly the same in every way.
Yeah. Well, good. I come for the king, as they say.
Yeah.
The king is dead. Long live the king.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to realize what that meant. I was like, I heard it as a very young age, and it took me so long to like understand what it meant. I thought it was someone being very pithy, not just that there was a new king.
There's a new king. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in the same situation. Until you just said it explicitly, I was 80% sure that's what it was, and 20% sure that it was a joke that I didn't get.
Yes. No, it's just one king dead. Here's new king. How you doing, new king? Same as the old king, as they say.
Someone in like the 1800s is saying like king is dead, long live the king, and somebody's like, is that from something? Like, why are you saying that so much?
I actually had that moment with a friend just 2 days ago where I remember something that he had said had like squirreled its way into my brain. I had to ask him, is that something from something, or is that just something he said?
Yeah, it's so strange, like not knowing the extent of like a meme. It's like, is that just my friend group thing? Is that a my family thing? Is that does everyone know that?
Oh, I've gotten way back into personal memes just for our own private discords, and let me tell you something, it is immensely satisfying.
Well, the logical conclusion of that is to make your own Discord that you don't invite anyone to, and you just talk to yourself on it, and you can have the most personal memes that you could imagine.
Yeah, I have like a big pile of GIFs that I use that are pretty much just only for like personal use. And so like some of these memes, I think it's like, I wonder if those could do numbers on Twitter, but that is like exhausting, and I don't care. Yeah,
it is so exhausting to have your creative practice like hijacked by analytics all the time.
Right.
It's like I'll do something like I was making like sometimes I like to make really weird collages of like just like pasting ads together and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was doing it with my friend, and I was like, "Oh, we should make a Twitter for this," and we did, and then it was like instantly way less fun. I was
Right.
like, I should not have done that.
Yeah. And also, listen, I was just on Twitter a moment ago because I needed to do something. I wanted to make sure of something. But I saw. Do you remember the guy? He's at the chalkboard and he's holding up a thing, and then the person holds up a sign. That meme from like some time.
Gru?
What?
Is it from Minions? Or
No.
from whatever Minions is from? Despicable Me.
No, it was the guy. He was like at a chalkboard. He was looking for someone to answer, and he would hold up something, and it would be something stupid. But anyway, originally the thing was a joke, and I'm like, oh, when I saw the original, I'm like the joke was a lot funnier than like all the meme derivatives. That's how I feel about like 99% of like meme derivatives. Is like you made a less funny version of a thing that already exists.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the point of memes is necessarily to be funny, but just to like be something that everyone understands, and you go, "Oh yeah, I'm part of the culture." You know?
Yes. Ooh. Commission's closed. Damn it. Most of my Twitter use is just purely like to find artists for covers. That's like strictly what I use Twitter for, more or less.
Yeah, I think the most productive thing that has come out of Twitter for me is like finding people to collaborate with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a broad message board to be brought to smaller places.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But like when people, I would never talk personally to someone on Twitter. It always feels weird. It's like I feel like I'm just like shouting across people in the middle of a checkout line, and it's like
strange when you like get into a conversation in comments or in replies or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, are we having a conversation or is this public? I'm not sure exactly.
So my thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently, and my approach to this is this conversation we're having the equivalent of something that would be on a talk show or like a panel show?
Mm.
And if yes, then I'll have it publicly. Otherwise, I will just like, let's go into DMs because I don't need, you don't feel like you don't need to post publicly like logistics and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just clogging the airwaves.
Or personal, like, hey, how you doing? Or just like, I'm glad to be part of this thing. Glad you're in this thing. As like, I prefer just like things that are more personal, but are like panel style conversations people would be having. Is like, yeah, let's have in public. Use this as a forum for not. I feel like people are on that parasocial kick again recently. Something dragged it back into discourse as something is wont to do every few months.
Just like people thinking about parasocial relationships being bad.
Yeah. Somebody probably. I'm imagining some creator posted cringe online, as they're wont to do. And we're all back here again, and going.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a strange thing because I feel like the original term and stuff was for like people getting into parasocial relationships with like fictional characters, but nowadays like fictional characters are like real people.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, parasocial relationships have always existed. Shout out to the very first parasocial relationship, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he had a lot of followers.
Yeah. He was. I mean, when you really think about it, the true. Damn.
Just in time for Easter tomorrow.
Yeah, just in time for Easter tomorrow. See, now that's the kind of shit I would be like, yeah, I could do numbers with parasocial Jesus Christ, but I have no patience to do that. I'd rather just.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I think I'll do numbers something, and then it's like a total flop. I'm like, you are all idiots. This is the funniest thing I've ever said.
Yeah, I mean I know. Most of the time it's because I know I'll flop. Because it's like a very specific niche joke that's like, this is extremely clever to me. Like when I took like the Dungeon World rule set and I replaced it with like lines from Once in a Lifetime. And I'm like, this is very funny. And then, which is why I don't post jokes.
Yeah, it's tricky when you cross two things because you might expect that fans of either thing would enjoy it, but it turns out it's just the overlap.
Yeah. So my complicated joke about Net Your Rose and and LCD Sound System's Losing My Edge is strictly for the drafts because I thought it was funny, but also who is that joke for? It's for me. And like,
yeah. Well, hey, you can post it to your private Discord.
I will. They'll probably think it. They might get it.
Yeah.
It's like, so last week, and I think honestly every last Saturday of the month now is going to be AMV night because I am a fan of. Ezra, what is your opinion on AMVs?
Yes.
Which is to say, anime music videos.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a fan.
Not so disrespectful to the medium.
I mean, yeah, maybe I just haven't found the cool ones, but the ones I've seen are not great.
No, I mean, part of the beauty of them is they're kind of not great. They're just kind of like I found that in like looking for them. There's someone who did like really good ones. I think it was like Truth Heart or I forget their name off the top of my head now, but they like. If you're looking for like your Sufjan Stevens AMV set to like an old 80s French film, then yes.
Okay.
Or like
yeah, I guess the closest I've come to that is like sometimes they're like really good animatics on YouTube or something.
Yes.
Like for a fandom I enjoy, like Hollow Knight or something like that.
Okay. Yes.
I can see the appeal.
Yeah. But a lot of them are really bad. A lot of them are just like. I feel like they've still not shaken the reputation of just like 180p Dragon Ball Z with Linkin Park over it.
Yeah, I also enjoy the sort of trashy like dramatic theme song from anime over other things.
Okay.
Like you're gonna judge me for this, but like,
no, I'm going to. Yeah.
That's okay. I've committed at this point. You Say Run is a song from an anime called My Hero Academia.
Oh, I know all about My Hero Academia. Don't worry about that. I know what the cool kids are into. I have feelings about My Hero Academia.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you do. Well, I enjoy it, and I also enjoy the You Say Run Goes to Anything because it's like transplanting emotions from one like medium into another or something like that.
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of it. There was, I haven't done a deep dive on the internet, but there's at one point, supposedly on AMV.org, or animemusicvideos.org, my mistake, it's okay. There's a dead link to an Azumanga Daioh Mission of Burma AMV. Are you familiar with either of those works?
I'm not.
So Azumanga Daioh, it's an old 4-panel thing. Mission of Burma is like an 80s post-punk band.
Okay.
Local, I believe they're like a local, like New England-ish band. They rule. But also it's like such a weird juxtaposition, and somehow, apparently I did not make that, so I can't imagine who else would have made that in like 2008.
Yeah.
But, my hearing.
Someone who has similar taste to you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what I know. I'll see that one. You post your jokes and you get the one like, and you're like, thank you, me.
Yeah, it's like telling a joke to a huge audience and then just like one person claps.
Yes.
That goes out to you.
I actually was getting ready. I have to figure out how to like pipe audio into Discord because I want to name that tune as a game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd be terrible at that. I'm glad you don't have it working yet.
But I wouldn't do with like the stuff I play during breaks because that's stuff that's like very intentionally, I guess, obscure, but like kind of obscure. I have complicated feelings with the word obscure, but this is for like, this is for the stuff that is not obscure at all. This is like where I could an excuse to play 3 seconds of Brother Sport or whatever.
Sure. Oh, I will say that the first time I looked at your Twitter profile, I did not get your pinned tweet. Yeah. And then recently I looked at it again and I was like, I do get it now because I watched Dorohedoro.
Dorohedoro fucking rules.
Yeah, I loved it. Oh, so
okay,
good.
So the anime is good because I am really skeptical. Like, I look at 3D and I go, this looks gross.
Yeah, the first 5 like it's hard to get used to, but like the story really shines through in the characters and everything.
Okay. Yeah, that
Maybe I should have just read the manga. Is what I should have done.
the manga absolutely rules. Also, like it's top shelf, like the best, one of the best, really. Like so,
Yeah, I believe that.
let's just let's talk about manga. You're dragging me into this.
Oh yeah,
Um,
my main memory of manga is like I would go to my local library in Baltimore
yeah.
and I would max out my mom's like library card on just like as much manga as I could possibly get. But I like come home with like a stack of like 30 books and just plop down on the couch and read them.
Yeah.
But like oftentimes they would have missing ones because like someone it was checked out or somebody stole it or I don't know what happened. But
Right.
so sometimes you have to like skip one and I'd just be so confused because like crazy shit can happen in a manga in one
Right.
book, you know. I tried to read One Piece and I got like very confused.
Yeah, that's also like there's a lot happening in the One Piece.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot
for
of,
sure.
it's dense. It's very interesting as a work, really. Like because that's someone who's very good at either planning ahead, which I think is unlikely, and more so, I think there's someone who is very good at
Flying by the seat of their pants.
right and like minding their own lore.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But so, but these days, are you more like I'll just watch the anime?
Yeah, unfortunately, I am not helped by the fact that I don't really like want to go outside to a library currently. But
Yeah.
or I guess I could buy them at this point. I have a job; I can buy things. But
Right.
yeah, it's crazy.
But also, if anyone who's out there, libraries are good because you can buy libraries are just like they're like Amazon. You can just go there and order books, and they will deliver them to the library near you.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I would never describe libraries as being like Amazon, except in that one regard.
Yeah. Well, listen, I gotta hook people in, but the thing that they like of like being able to order things and get them.
Yeah, and the librarians
delivered.
are super nice, like they're required to be. It's great.
Even if you don't want to talk to librarians, the library I went to, they put your books in the reserve section. You bring them to the self checkout, and you don't talk to anybody.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great.
So when you're buying your manga, or as they call them, books for perverts, nobody judges you.
Mm. Who calls them that exactly?
Well, I presume.
Yeah, that's just what everyone's saying in their heads, in your head,
Yeah,
when you're thinking about it.
You're like these goddamn perverts in their horny books. Disgusting, filth.
Yeah, Dorohedoro, not very horny, except for some of the characters.
Yeah, but whatever. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I listen. My relationship with horniness in media is complicated in that I don't mind it, really. It's
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
all very complicated. It's very like situational,
Mm.
and it's not like a blanket. Nudity isn't like a blanket thing about that's bad or that's not bad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, yeah, like engaging with those topics in like a good way is great, and
Yeah.
there's just so many ways that can be problematic. But
Right.
other than that, yeah,
Sometimes designers are just horny, and that's fine.
yeah,
Sometimes authors are horny. So let them be horny.
yeah. Also, like, yeah, it always blows me away just how many of like the top games on Steam are like horny in one way or the another. You know?
Yeah. Right. Listen. I'm not gonna. People like what they like. I'm not gonna judge anyone.
Yeah.
But there's like, it's kind of like what that guy said about porn once. I can't describe to you what feels like exploitation, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We've gotten so off topic. I don't even know what topic
this doesn't
is,
have a
but-
topic.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you distracted me. Like my long term dream of like, whoa, I need to start a comic podcast so I read a lot of comic books. I have a massive, that's like my medium I don't know if it's just something about my brain that I prefer those over regular books or something. But I like the pictures. I think there's, Ezra, they do in fact say 1,000 words.
Yeah. The funniest story for me about comics is that I'm not super into most comics, like besides the massive amounts of manga I read as a kid.
Right.
But there was a local game store that I loved going to because I would play Magic there.
Yeah.
And I got a part-time job there as a kid. It was an apprenticeship, and thinking for some reason that it would be get to do Magic stuff, but
right.
It was actually just comic books the whole time because that's their main revenue,
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about them, and I was stalking the comic books, and people would ask me about what was going on with them, and I would be so confused because there's just so many different properties with so many different
Batman fights somebody, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But it was fun to hear people totally geek out about it, but
yeah,
I didn't get it at all.
Yes, that is. Yeah, I have. To bring it back to my feelings on the hero boys, as they call them, there's my general feeling with shonen manga is that it's just fun character designs, and sometimes they do things. I like that.
But you can definitely tell when an artist makes a lore decision to justify being able to draw people funny.
Yeah.
Definitely in Dorohedoro, there's oh yeah, everyone wears masks, so I get to draw this person with a heart for a face all the time, or whatever.
Q Hayashida rules, and her art style, I love it. And also, everyone out there, if you're not reading Dorohedoro, read Dorohedoro, and then also read Die Dark. Die
This
Dark
is the official stance of the podcast.
Yeah, my official stance of, it's it's best game in the biz. Read Delicious in Dungeon. That is my number one hot recommendation of ongoing comics. Or or just honestly, if you don't want to read it, just read the supplements that she puts out. They're just exceptional studies in character. It's should be taught in classes, how much of a grasp he has on character design and character voice through just design. I think about it a lot. It's truly something special.
Yeah, I really love things that are very character driven.
Yeah.
And I think that games have a not unique way of doing that, but I feel that's the type of story that's most fitting for games because you get to spend a lot of time with them, and also part of the characterization of things can be their mechanics versus plot lines where it's okay, well, I mean, there's complicated relationships with how much are you going to tell the player versus let them do it and stuff.
That. But you can do things fighting games are the perfect example of character storytelling through design and through movement and player interaction.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
How does his character move? How does his character navigate the space? How does it's. Well, I think game. I'm gonna bold stance. I think 90% of game scripts could be 50% shorter, and all the games would be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with that.
I think there's too much dialogue in games.
Now that I haven't listened to the other folks on this show previously. I think there was The Office came up at some point, or maybe that was a previous episode.
No, that was this one. that was an hour ago.
Everything's blurring together.
Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking what would The Office video game be like?
Right. How would and I mean I love doing adaptive works and because I think it's an interesting
your Seinfeld RPG.
Yes, my Seinfeld RPG. Everyone go to my itch page, buy my Seinfeld RPG. I think it's there's no pictures in it because it's very short, but I think it's well written and I think it is a good adaptation and it's kind of funny. I like to think I'm funny sometimes. But as we're approaching, look for in the future for my Garth Marenghi game I'm gonna make for the ZX Spectrum, but not really for the ZX, but mostly just using its resolution and button and color palette restrictions.
Ooh, yeah, I'm actually working on a like a haunted computer text adventure thingy
Okay.
right now, and we've been trying to figure out what the visual style of it should be. So I'm looking up a lot of like old computer interfaces and like trying to figure out which things to pull and which things to fudge
Yeah.
because people remember them that way.
Right. I love the look. I have like little experience with those old computers, especially like ones that are more like far more European,
Mm.
and I love. It's an Amiga game when the UI takes up about 40% of the screen.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. As
Yeah, it
an
reminds
Amiga,
me too of like, oh,
yes.
good.
Well, no,
Um,
continue on with your
like
thought.
those images people post of like pixel art versus pixel art on the screen that it was intended for,
Yeah.
or like with the effect of the LEDs that like looks way smoother.
Right.
Um, so we just have like too high resolution to like perceive it at this point,
Yeah.
the way it's supposed to be perceived. But like trying to make a game that can take in art assets that are like pixel art and then output something that's like visually consistent
Right.
because it has like a big effect on it. I think that's neat.
I also honestly I do. Whenever I see those comparisons, I'm like, I like both of these. I think they both look good. I love the
Yeah, I mean it's become its whole other thing, but
yeah. I love those
yeah.
clean, chunky sprites.
Yeah, there's something very appealing about them.
Ezra, given all the resources you would need, what existing piece of fiction would you adapt into a video game?
Oh man, that's so tough. I mean, we were just talking about The Office, so now I can't get that out of my head.
Okay.
I think that would be like I'm so curious what that would be mostly. Like what would it mean? It would be definitely comedy, maybe like just little vignettes of stories or
Oh,
something.
so it's like Oberdin but funny.
Yeah, I guess so. Sure, yeah. And it's all told through printer paper or something.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. We're gonna go on break. We'll be back in 2 minutes 30 seconds plus dead air. Goodbye, everyone.
One.
Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. Everybody's here. Hello, everybody. Wait, is everybody here?
Yeah, hey.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's up?
Okay, good. Everyone is here. Perfect. Oh, Ezra, I forgot to ask you a question, but you know what? That's because the third person didn't leave me a question, which is wont to happen sometimes.
That's okay.
So, Ezra, to Frankenstein together, I have to ask you from previous guests, what anime theme song do you wish could you wipe from your memory so you could experience it again for the first time?
Oh man, I have a soft spot in my heart for the Naruto opening, but I also haven't watched all that much Naruto, so I don't know. That's my answer. Final answer. Ding, ding, ding.
Nice. I had an AMV that was Gouge Away, I believe, for Naruto.
Nice.
Gouge Away by Pixies. Listen, so AMVs were actually back in the Kaza days and the LimeWire days, they were actually a very reliable way to get the music you wanted at a decent quality, which is to download AMVs from animemusicvideos.org. And you would get the song you wanted, you know exactly what it was. And it was like an interesting way to browse and find new music as a teen.
Huh.
Because you'd be like, I like Slayers. Let me download Slayers AMVs. What is Bob Dylan's Rainy Day Women? I guess I'll download that.
Yeah, it was like this Spotify of its time for sure.
Yeah, so it's like a weird... I feel like I actually discovered music just by I like Naruto. I didn't actually like Slayers. I still now have a vague understanding of what Slayer... I think, is Slayers an isekai? Are there any...
Oh, crap. Speaking of isekai, sorry.
Are there any Slayers experts on the call that can tell me?
No.
Not I.
That's unfortunate. I'll have to get a Slayer's expert at some point. Now you were saying?
Oh, right. Speaking of isekai, I actually have to go, but it's been fun.
Okay, well you go to your other world, watch out for trucks or something.
I will. All right, it's been fun. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Let me drop our studio mode and be like, where are you? Guest one, goodbye. Goodbye. Oops, nope, that's my name. Goodbye.
It's kind of funny that like that service was almost like, hey, if you like this anime, you might like this music.
Yeah. Oh, because there was that person.
Yeah.
There was someone out there who was like, I do like Azumanga Daioh and Mission of Burma. An Academy fight song, even. Listen. Mission of Burma is good. Y'all should listen to Mission of Burma. But I think they're too cool to be on my break music, technically.
What's the qualification?
What?
What's the qualification?
Less than 50,000 plays on Spotify monthly.
All right. I wasn't expecting that concrete of an answer.
That is my little answer. So something like This Arc, for instance, is sitting at a comfortable 1357.
49,999, and then you put it over the limit by listening to it.
Yeah. Now Mission of Burma is at 123,000. Too cool for Indiepocalypse Radio. I have also weird feelings. I have like, when you get so far up your own ass, you don't know what's obscure anymore. You know.
It's obscure to somebody.
Right. But I'm like, well, no, everyone knows who Mission of Burma is. Like, obviously.
Yeah.
Or like,
Well, it's also interesting that you use the word cool because to some people, cool is like, less plays. It's like,
right.
oh, if it's really obscure, it's really cool. But you're saying like, oh, too many people listen to it, that's too cool.
I mean, they're both very cool. It's two spectrums of cool.
Diametrically opposed.
Yes. Two cools live inside of you, as they say.
Depends on which one you feed, right?
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm always feeding the one that has like Animal Collective on it. I'm always feeding that one because I like it. I just did recently listen to like their whole back catalog, and they're like, I forgot how like ambient they were in the very beginning, and not just like the real sea change with strawberry. Listen, am I getting in the weeds? Does no one know what I'm talking about?
I can't talk for Mars, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
Okay, everyone go. Homework for Indiepocalypse Radio is like just go listen to Animal Collective all the way through.
You gotta start putting music on your zines. Or like music to listen to while you play the zine.
Yeah, I mean, I did use at one point a newsletter for a different podcast that I also do that I don't talk about because nary the twain shall meet. It's real. It's two Georges, if you will. This is Indiepocalypse George. He's different from other George is. But I use that newsletter.
How will you grow your brand, Andrew?
No, I hate brands, dude.
I know.
Someone actually asked me, they were like, new contributor Cassidy of Bad Game Hall of Fame was like, do you have a logo so that I could put on my site now that I'm doing like a monthly feature to be like, hey, go visit this thing? And it is, no, I do not have a logo. Oh, I forgot to have him plug his stuff in before he left. Whoops.
Oh no.
But no, I very intentionally don't have a logo because I don't like brands and I don't want people to see Indiepocalypse before and have that overshadow the people within it. It's kind of like, I don't want it to be like, Andrew presents Indiepocalypse by Andrew, and then.
Well, yeah, but I don't feel like it needs to be that way. Like, even if it's not like Andrew presents, but Indiepocalypse as an idea, potentially could like travel farther with a streamlined like thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. But that's me. I'm a weird guy who doesn't.
Like... No, I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying like, it's not. I feel like at least having like a logo is not necessarily selling out.
Right. Well, I don't even say it's selling out, but who designs it? Where I put it? Does it have to go on the covers? Like, where do I put it? And then I also really don't have anywhere where I'd put a logo.
Well, what if you just pay an artist to make a new logo every time?
That's what I'm doing. You're seeing them in the slideshow in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
And they all, yeah, I do. I love how everyone puts their own visual design on it, puts their own touch on it.
Oh yeah, I love the covers.
Like,
Yeah, I'm like zoning out just looking at all of these. These are pretty
Yeah.
wonderful.
I have a Twitter list, and whenever I see artists I just add them to the Twitter list, and then I go through it, and then I'm
What's like grief that you give them if they don't know about it before?
I say what? Listen, if you receive an email from me, I have them in templates, and I just paste them in there because I'm very busy, and I'm not handwriting an email every single time.
Makes sense.
I think it's I just describe that's it's a bundle of indie games, and there's a zine that goes with it. Here's the link to the secret. If you sign up to indiepocalypse.com/newsletter, you not only do you get an email once a month that tells you Indiepocalypse came out, and only that email basically, but you also get access to all of the zines, free versions that don't have comics or my tabletop adaptations of 69 Love Songs by the Magnetic Fields, or Cassidy's Bad Game Hall of Fame features, or any of the other stuff that's in there. But you do get the page with 10 games and stuff, and that's it. But I basically give them that and say, and if they say, what do I do? What do you want? I go, I don't care. As long as it says Indiepocalypse on it, you do whatever you want.
Yeah. I still have a soft spot in my heart for the first one, because that was the one that you showed me at that event. And I was like, ooh, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I can't pick favorites. I don't think I could probably pick. I will always say that I can't pick favorites, but at any point I could pick a favorite anything. I could probably pick a favorite issue, but I'm not going to. That seems
no one's asking you to.
No.
You love all of them equally until you don't.
Yes. I love all of them equally. I don't care much for number 5. That's that meme. I actually no. Number 5 was just the one that was on the screen at the moment. There's none that I don't not care for. You know. None of them I look and go, woof, rough month. Mostly because if I didn't get enough entries, I will knock on doors until I get enough entries that are good. I'm not going to put hot bullshit in Indiepocalypse.
Yeah, but you are now getting plenty of entries.
Oh, I got too many entries. I got entries for days. I got secret issues coming out. I got all sorts of stuff. I'm putting ideas out into the ether as I need to do so they become real. The one thing I definitely want to become real, so I'm going to probably try to mention on every single episode now, is I want to make a PS2. I want to make an RPG Maker 2 Exquisite Corpse.
Where you send it around. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. You get a PS2, you get a copy of RPG Maker 2. They're both relatively cheap. And you make it for a month. You put the memory card in a thing and you mail it to the next person. And then it just keeps on going. Keeps on going. Do I have a page where you can sign up to do that? No, I don't. Go to indiepocalypse.com.
It's a really good idea.
.com/Discord, I guess, and I want to get that rolling at some point. I really want to do that, but it's very much inspired by that group in Japan who buys up old Super Famicom and Famicom versions of RPG Maker and just plays whatever's on them. Which I love that idea so much.
Yeah,
it's like
I can only
obscure.
imagine. Right.
It even there's something special about buying carts that have data on them and save files and names. Even still in my brain, my copy of Link to the Past, to bring it all back to the beginning of the recorded segment, that is that I got a copy of Link to the Past and one of the save files' name was Bong. But I was a child and I did not know what a bog was. but still in my brain, if I think about that name, it's still like I never make the connection. Like my brain can't be like, no, that's just a guy's save file name. We didn't name it after a bong.
Oh, that's so funny. When I was listening to that, when you were talking about that, I thought that the person's just actual name in the video game was Bong, and that you were saying you just didn't get like the reference or whatever.
No, that was their name for Link was Bong,
So funny.
which is like a good name for Link. What if Link's name was Bong? But idea number 2, which I had, was I want to I think the zip file has disappeared, but at one point there's a zip file that had like it might honestly be on my computer, or I can't remember if I lost it to hard drive failure or not. But the zip file that had every use map setting game from the original StarCraft, and I want to make like a special issue that is people recreating those game ideas of like
Ooh,
in a jam, because like that's where Dota came from.
yeah.
That's where tower defenses came from, I think. I'm fairly certain. Like, I feel like there are like a lot of weird ideas that came from that original StarCraft. And I would love to see people like, how do we make madnesses? How do we make this weird StarCraft version of The Sims or something? What does Grocery Store Wars look like as a video game? But
Yeah. I have a complicated relationship with that because I love that idea, but also I hate that control scheme of like having to click to move your characters around.
right, because in that case you could do. But I'm saying is in this version you do whatever you want. You're just adapting the core ideas.
That is tempting.
But I would even furnish people copies of StarCraft because I like the idea so much, and also I pay people money anyway. So what's $10 for a copy of StarCraft Brood War? You know, it's probably $10, right? Even the enhanced edition. But anyway, I'm kind of just like pelling around at this point. Does anyone have any burning statements to say before I shut this all down?
I had purchased a copy of Chrono Trigger
Yes.
from, I don't know, I was in a GameStop trying to buy it and they didn't have it. Just as somebody was trying to sell their copy to GameStop, dude looked out, ended up getting a lot more money than GameStop was going to provide. And so, I mean, I got like the original box and everything too.
Oh, wow.
I still have the poster that came in the box and everything. But
shit. So that is you tell your story. I'm gonna take a trip to price charting.
yeah, but I remember opening it up and like I can't remember specifically the names of the characters, you know, like what he put in there, but it felt so dirty.
Yeah.
You know, like I bought this from this guy. Like we couldn't even do it in the store. Like we had to walk out of the store, and it felt like this like black market deal that was going on. And then I took it home, and I was so excited to be able to play Chrono Trigger again, because I don't know, I was like renting it before, or
Right.
sold my copy or something. I don't know. And you know, I'm like looking through at all of their settings and stuff for like the battle speed and text speed and everything else that came up, and like the UI skin that they had was like the ugliest one, and it was just like I had this like visceral reaction just to like being a part of this other, or like taking over this other person's experience in that save data. I've been sitting here thinking about like what that could mean for all these RPG Maker games that you could find, you know, like what gems are hidden, but at the same time, like what, you know, as like a creative outlet, like how did, you know, some kid like use that game as a means to like, I don't know, name characters poop, or, you know, come up with something else that was like, you know, even in like serious territory, you know, where there's like issues of, I don't know, abuse or like, who knows? That would be amazing to discover and document in some way.
Are there like undiscovered copies of, you know, were there kids out there making like how many Yume Nikki's are out there basically? Just like sitting around these old Famicom carts.
Mars, are you familiar with the creepypasta Ben Drowned?
It's familiar. Yeah, we were talking earlier. My memory is really bad. So
Oh,
yeah,
well,
what's that?
a big part of the creepiness of that, in my opinion, is like the fact that it is like a cartridge that you got from this like yard sale for free. You know, that whole like horror trope. But then it's like the
Yeah.
soul of the person is on it who has like died, obviously. Um,
Oh
but
yeah,
yeah, I
that's
mean,
creepy.
right, yeah. But like, I don't know. There's something so like, it feels like such a violation of personal space to like be on someone else's safe file.
What if, there's a game there, honestly.
Yeah,
Like a
I
pretty
mean that's kind of
popular.
the game I'm making right now.
Yeah, I. My idea that people will forget about by the time I'm making it is I want to make a creepypasta game that is a very normal looking game, like a platformer or like something that looks like a very Super Nintendo era game that's like very unassuming, but like it just runs a random seed at the beginning, and like one in a million or whatever times it turns out to be a creepypasta version
Ooh,
where your cartridge is cursed and all this weird shit happens. So then you'd have like one person who's like, guys, this game is super weird and like crazy. And people are like, what are you talking about? It's just like a platformer. I'm like, no.
that's
Like,
so cool.
it keeps crashing the desktop and leaving me weird messages, and like all the graphics are broken. And they're like, nah, dude, it's just like a platform. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's always like
Yeah.
a weird spin on all of those little things that you're opening up the game, you're loading up a save file, you're
Yeah.
saving, you're having multiple saves, and just that like weird. Everybody's doing it. You're it's super important how you do it, and the process of going through it's so repetitive that it just becomes like second nature. And then when games throw you for a loop, like you clear the game and now you're booting it back up, but it's some weird horror game. So now all
Yeah.
of a sudden you jump in and like the experience is different, or your save file gets deleted and stuff like that. It's such a, I don't know, it's like an easy, I think, thing conceptually to
Right.
think about. Well, the impact is going to be huge, but the nuance of like tailoring exactly how that
Right.
comes about. Like your, what is the one? It's like the schoolgirls and the weird like AI. Is
I,
it the
Dookie
literature
Literature
club?
Club?
that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say. I assume.
yeah. I always think about that when this stuff comes up.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
played it because I don't know. I don't play a lot of stuff. Seems fine. If you
Official stance of the podcast. Seems
is
fine.
yes, if you have never, it's hard to tell with video games when things get weird. If you already like surreal stuff, like is this people just having very like this is my first touch with surreality or something, or is
Mm.
this like actually super cool and it's always impossible for me to know. Usually, I assume that people have like they're like have very little grasp or like their like world gets blown easily or something. Not which is not like a
The
bad
people
thing.
fall for the gimmick, and it's not like actually good.
Well, it's probably good, but like not as good. You know what I mean? It's
Mm. Yeah, it
it's
won't hit you in the same way.
right, because you're familiar with it. But also, people need their first steps, so it's like it's not that it's bad. It's just as you get more used to, eventually, it's how eventually noise music begins to start making sense to you because you're like, oh, I understand the noise now. And make I feel the rhythm in the noise because I've listened to so much ambient post rock or whatever. They're like, put this on. It's 40 minutes long. It's one song, and really start to understand it. Let's all go home and listen to Godspeed You Black Emperor. Too cool for Indiepocalypse Radio. But anyway, I think that's it. I think we're done with this show. I think I'm done with this show. I want to go home.
And that's the show.
That's the show. My other idea was that aforementioned beating Sufjan at his own game and making a game for every 50, making an Indiepocalypse for all 50 states, which I desperately want to do, and because I think it'd be very cool.
That would be cool.
We're getting pretty close. I think I'm at like 12 or 13 states as it is.
Of people who submitted?
Yes. Maybe even more. I could count it. But I don't want to count it. Or do I want to count it? I'll just count it right now. Whatever. No one's going anywhere. They're not my
A dramatic counting. 1,
No one's
2.
They're not my boss. Also, like, it's not counting Hawaii. We have from Alaska to Florida, all over the place. 1, 2.
Yeah. Do you have any outside the U.S.?
16, I was right. Yeah, a ton outside the U.S. We hit every continent.
All right, well, count those as states as well.
Yeah, every continent
Not
but
U.S. states.
every continent but Antarctica. Most of the Canadian provinces, I think. Like 6 of them or something. Yeah, like I think it's at like 30 countries or something.
That's cool.
It's international. That copy of Chrono Trigger.
Major international publication, Indiepocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Chrono Trigger sells for like $541.33 for a complete in box on average.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd open it up. It'd be worth it.
Yeah. No, it's just complete in box. That's not new. New is like 1,200.
Interesting.
Graded is 14,000. But that's not. So let's.
Yeah, I just emulate the thing.
So do I. I emulate all my games because it's easier than like dragging out. And I have like composite cables or all the cables. I got composite cables, so I don't have to, because what kind of TV? I guess my TV probably still has have like that RF adapter input. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much easier to just like, boot up RetroArch, and then I can be like, I'm done playing Chrono Trigger. I'm going to go play Vagrant Story, and it's just a couple steps over my cross media bar. But close the show. I'm running out of steam. I want to go get food. What was I looking for? I remember now. I was looking to get ZenVex's itch page, which I assume is just ZenVex. It is. Okay, I was right. So, plugs. ZenVex, who is already gone. Welcome back to the show. Boop, boop. Hello. He's not actually back. But if you can go to zenvex.itch.io, and that's XENVEX. Ezra, what have you got to plug?
Oh man, yeah, I guess my itch page, which is I think just my full name. My last name has an S in it. EZRASZANTON. Got some games on there.
Okay. Marge, what have you got to plug?
Nothing. Y'all can check out my itch page. It's Nujikajata, NUJAKUJATA.itch.io. You could just Google my name too. It's probably one of the first things that'll pop up. Mars Ashton.
You got good SEO.
Yep.
I will say, hey, you should buy Indiepocalypse. The issue 15 just came out. It's got good stuff on it. Go to indiepocalypse.com/Patreon. Just subscribe. If you're at $5, you can get this show the Monday after it comes out. Otherwise, you gotta wait like a month if you missed it. Except in this case, if you weren't here live, you don't get to see the first portion at all, because I accidentally did not. I must have hit I think I have 0 on my numpad or something set to turn recording off and on, and I think I must have hit it. Whatever, that's it.
No
Indiepocalypse. I got a bunch of redirects, but if you go to indiepocalypse.com and go on the store pages, all that shit's there. Just buy the thing, you people. It's $15. Instead of getting those gotcha spins why don't you do a Indiepocalypse is like a gotcha where you get 10 games. It's like a gotcha spin where you only pull 5-star JPEGs of all your favorite anime. And then you get to play them all, and they never go away. It's just a zip file. No DRM here. PSN gets shut down. I'm like, I'm just shooting out zip files on the internet, dudes. Can't shut down zip files. Even if you close down WinZip, dude, I still got 7-zip. I got WinRAR. I got them all. I will compress and decompress files until the end of time and distribute them. I have a PDF.
And distribute them? Oh, good.
The zine portion is just a PDF. Those shit launched in browsers. I will put them on discs and deliver them by hand. I think they're too big for discs. They might not be. I could probably burn them on DVDs, honestly. Whatever. I'm leaving. Goodbye, everyone. Ah, shit. I'm not in studio mode anymore. Goodbye, everyone. Everyone say, you have... I'll stop talking so that people can say goodbye if they like, but...
Bye.
Good luck.